Well, ladies, here it is, our front and back page that we're gonna do the splattering and the gilding polish. I can't believe this is pretty much it. This will be our last calendar club that we're gonna be doing this for 2021. But I'm excited to move on to something new. So make sure you've got your chocolate bronze out. Go ahead and grab your splatter brush, white paint, and then also one of your templates. I'm using set number 34. This was the original beginning ones that I started with and then couldn't find for a while because my scrap room is a mess. So here we go. Let's get everything put to the side. We're gonna start with our gilding polish. So let's open that up. Make sure you prime your sponge. I've got a clean sponge here and I'm wiping it on, I'm wiping it off. And I do that a few times to push that material into the sponge so that enough of it comes off when I go to stamp it. So that looks pretty good. So with this one, this layout that I'm using is a revision from November that's coming up. And I have rings that I'm gonna put on it, but I've left them off. I figure it would be easier because some of the rings are pop dotted. So I left them off and I'm gonna do the template up and down, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it this way because I have this wood grain, so I'm gonna go across. So I'm gonna kind of move it in an L shape here and then do a little bit on the side. So let's go ahead, stuff it in there and get started. I'm gonna get some more on my sponge. That's probably pretty good for this one. Awesome. And I'm gonna leave it there. Load up my sponge with my material. Perfect. All right, I think I'm gonna go across. I think I'm gonna turn it actually so that I weld these two together kind of. That's great. Okay, so let's stop with that one. Do I want a little bit up here? For some reason I do today. I'm looking at it and thinking just a little smidge there. Okay, so I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna do down at this side. That's good. No more for this one. So let's get the white paint out, give it a little splatter and a splash of white paint, and then we'll do our revision layout. So for this one here, get out your splatter brush, get ready to make a mess. Make sure you have a splatter tray up. Hopefully you've made one by now. Get a little dollop of paint. Oh Lord, thank goodness I didn't forget this time because I'm sick of replacing my photo mats when I make a mess. But get your scrap pieces of paper and cover up your mats if you put them on there. If you don't, that's good too, but sometimes I just feel it's too hard to do this without the mats being on it because I don't know exactly where I want to place my template stuff. But when you guys have a sample that you're already looking at, maybe it's easier. So let's go ahead and do some splattering. That looks good. I'm gonna put up a big dollop of paint. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Ooh, too bad that didn't go up there. Oh well, what you gonna do? A little bit more. Perfect. A little down here. Okay, let's take these off. I am a little sad that this is gonna be the last time I'm gonna be doing splattering. But I have thought to myself, so I wouldn't be sad, that maybe I would try in 2021 to do a little splattering each month. So we don't forget the technique and we keep using our gilding polishes, but we'll see how that goes. So here's my leftover layout. Again, this is gonna have some rings on it, but they're gonna probably be popped out a little bit. So I wanted to do the splattering and the gilding polish first. Let's go ahead and set our template on there. Load up our sponge. I'm gonna turn it this time too. That's good. Let's do a little welding. Hopefully I don't make a mess on my mats. because if I do, I'll have to replace them. You know how neurotic I am. Okay. Ooh, I didn't. That's lovely. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit right here, and then I am going to be done with my templates for 2021. Oh, unless I use them on the Christmas layouts, because I have most of the Christmas layouts finished. I just have to go back and embellish them, thanks to Colleen, my handy dandy assistant. She makes the backgrounds for me, and then I do most of the embellishing, or I should say all the embellishing. Keep trying to talk her into doing it, but it seems to be a no-go. All right, so let's cover up our mats. Let's get our white paint out for the last time for 2020 and go to town. Love it. Like that, right across the page there. That's great. Throw this away. And now I'm going to go on. Oh, darn it. I got some white paint on there. You know, I'm going to have to replace that. Ugh. Oy vey. Okay, ladies, so that is it for the background for your front and back page. And now, while that's drying, we're going to work on flowers. Well, ladies, here we are. This is our last page of flowers for our 2020 calendar. I am excited and also sad. I really do love these flowers. So it will be, I'm going to try to bring them back here and there, I think, in regular sketch club for everybody, because I love the flowers and I like designing them. So let's do it. Let's get everything that we need out to do our very last page for 2020 calendar. So grab your chalk, get your zig writer. You're going to need your sunburst glitter glue, okay? Go ahead and grab out a cotton balls and Q-tips, your adhesive, and then white paint. So I've just grabbed this white paint. Everybody knows I'm redoing my craft room. I can't seem to find everything. So that's the paint I could come up with this morning. And it works just as well. I like the paint. And don't forget your toothpick. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna start with the white flower, which when I was designing these, I was thinking about a Fuji mum. So that's kind of how I wanted it to look. So that's what we're gonna start with. Each Fuji mum has a large white one, and then it has two medium size, one small, the center, and then the leaves, okay? Not every Fuji mum has a leaf on it. All right, it looks like I actually grabbed one that I broke somehow, so yours won't come like that, but I'm not worried about it because it has tons of layers. I'm gonna start with my biggest one here, and we're gonna do all of our doodling, then we'll go back and we'll do some chalk, and then we'll do the white paint, and then the yellow glitter glue like we've been doing for the last 10 months. Okay, so on this, I'm gonna cover the center. I don't have to worry about that. And when I did these, I just did a nice line and then like a little V back up on most of them. And then of course, some dotting and dashing. So if it's a really thin one, I didn't pull that line back up. And then I don't use the fat end this time until I have the whole flower assembled. Like that one, I'm not going to pull a line since it's more in the center. And this is a really thin one, so I'm not going to worry about it on this one either. And these have lots of layers, so you don't have to do the same thing on each one. I love all Fuji mums, but my favorite are the white. They have that limey green tint to them. So that's exactly what we're gonna do to ours when we do the chalking. So that's good enough on this one, and we're gonna keep doing that to all of them. If it's really thin, just pull one line and then do your dotting and dashing. If you can get a second one in there, that's good too. It just doesn't have to be on each one. Just keep going around until you've got them all done. Next. Perfect. Last one. And this one is super small, so I just pulled some lines out of it and did some dotting. I didn't try to ever do like a double because it's way too tiny. Okay, good enough on that. So let's go ahead and assemble this flower. Grab our adhesive. I'm gonna start with the biggest one. I just put a little adhesive on the center, and then I make sure I offset this so that, you know, they're in between. They're the best that I can. And you can keep turning the flowers until you like, you know, how they set. So that looks good to me. We're gonna do the same thing to each piece. Good. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab our lime green center. We're gonna put that on, and then we're gonna draw on this one. So on this one, it has these zigzags, really kind of sharp edges here. So that's all I'm doing is kind of following along, but you know, just making my own little zigzag. A little line in it. And now we're gonna go back with the big one, big dots. Hop around. Giving some weight to our flower with our circles. Good enough, ladies. Let's set that to the side and work on the green leaves. So with the green leaves, it has the little, you know, pointy edges, and I just did like a really quick V on each one. And then draw down the sides of it. And then we're gonna do a nice curvy line in the center. And then we're gonna pull all those V's back to it. I don't need to line up. Okay, so lots of small dots. And then we're gonna go back with the other side. And that is good for our green leaf. So these two little guys will eventually go together once we start to assemble. So let's move on to some of the other pieces. So there's quite a few other little pieces for this. Here, most of them are, so make sure you've got your sets out. And let's go ahead and start with the purple flower. So we need the large and the small purple, and then the yellow. So we're gonna pull those out and assemble them. Let's start with that large one. Each one of these is kind of a petal, so we're gonna form that. We're gonna take it real close in there. And then I did like a little backwards V for some veining in the flowers. And then of course, dotting. So let's set that aside. Get the next one, the smaller one, and then we're gonna do the same thing. Let's assemble, oops, got a cotton ball there. Let's put this little guy on top, like that. Let's put the center on there. It's really hard to like draw on these small pieces unless they're on something larger. So a lot of times I do like to assemble the centers in there. So nice lines, good dots. And then let's go back with our big dots. And that is good. One more done. Let's grab our green leaf, our green stems. I'm gonna draw a nice straight line along the edges. And then, oh, I have a cat down there messing with this. I'm so sorry it's bouncing over. Ollie, that mischievous little girl. So tracing the outside edges and then putting a nice line, a nice curve, one more down the side. And then, oh, Ollie, get out of there, you stinker. Sorry, guys. Look at, there's evidence of Ollie right there. So a nice line down the stems. Of course, grab the big dots. And that is good right there. Let's go ahead and set that aside. And we'll grab this one. So this one I actually colored the pink stem. So you're gonna use your fat side and you're gonna color the pink stem and then kind of go onto the circular part in like a V motion. Okay, that looks good. And then one big dot on that end where the tip is. And then from here, we're just gonna trace around the outer edges. And of course, dotting here and there. These little guys are moving all over the place for me today. All right, so then a couple large dots too, just where the small ones are. I feel like I need a new pen for my dotting. There we go, but that is good. Simple, simple, quick, quick. All right, how about this spiky guy? This spiky guy is just a few lines on it. Down each one. And then pull it down the stem. And then a little bit of dotting. Big dots, of course. All of you guys are dot experts at this point. Okay, let's be done with that one. And then we've got our little limey foliage. And when I did this one, I made like a half a circle on each one and then finished it off. I pulled through the stems, just a quick line. Okay, now on this one I also pulled a little bit of a closed V up through the center. Ooh, missed one. All right. Big dots. All right, I've got a mischievous cat. I can see her getting ready to leap on me over here. You stay down, naughty girl. Okay. That looks good. So let's just kind of set that aside. And the last two are going to be our stems. I always like to use branches in my real floral arrangements. So I thought, let's do it one time on our calendar club. So on these, we're gonna very specifically put a like oval shape on the ends, like it's the end of the twig. I'm gonna do that to both. It's a really small detail, but I like the little details. Ollie. And then once you've got the ovals on the ends, you're gonna draw some lines on the edges, dotting and dashing for sure. All right, here comes the cat. Oh my goodness, you just laid on all of our flowers. Okay, you, get out of here. Hang on, sorry guys. Oof. I've probably lost half my flowers because she just laid on them. We'll find out when we try to assemble. We're gonna draw lines, and I like to do like a few circles that you would see like knots on a tree. You don't have to be too detailed here, just some movement because it's pretty dark and you won't see a ton of it. So just a little bit of movement and things like that. Let's try that tiny leaf. So we're gonna pull our branches through. Oh, she is so furry. And she's bumping my camera again. All right, Allie. Gee whiz. All right, I think that's it. I think I scared her off with that stern voice. All right, good movement. The grain, the bark, I mean, not grain. Some dotting. And let's do some big dots. And now it's time to chalk. So let's get our chalk out. Let's get our cotton balls out and get ready to do that. I've got my stuff that I used for my first set. Okay, so we might as well start with these guys. Now I did, one of the brighter browns. I did a little highlighting on some of the edges. It's like a reddish brown. And then, of course, black. So when we go to do the black, we're just going to use a cotton ball to do it. So just do a little bit of variations and highlights. And maybe I will start with the Q-tip first. Just kind of go around the little knots. And let's blend it all off. Actually, that looks really nice, just with that little bit of black in spots. So we're going to stick with that and set those guys aside. Let's grab our green foliage, that limey one, and we're just gonna take your brightest, or I'm sorry, not your brightest green, just any of your greens that you have. So go ahead and get your Q-tip loaded up with a green, and we're just gonna go around the outer edges with something darker than what this is. And you can go down the stem. And we'll get some more on there. I love when the Q-tips are fluffy like this. That's my favorite way to have them. Take your cotton ball and just blend it off a little bit. And that looks just great. The other green leaf, take a darker green color if you have it. And we're just gonna do the one side. And that darker green. And then I did the tip of this in a little bit of black. So just kind of do like a little bit of black. And then clean it up with a cotton ball. That looks good. The orange one, I didn't do a ton to. I just added a darker orange to it just to have some shading, and only to like kind of the tip of the edges on this one too. Good, good, good. Pink guy, if I can pick it up, that guy here, we use red. And we just went along the edges on both sides of the circles. And I took the black and I just did a little black close to the other black that's there. And brush it off and you're good to go for that one. All right, purple flower. Grab one of your purple colors. It doesn't have to be close to it. This one's gonna be quite a bit brighter. And we're gonna go around the edges of each piece. And then for the inside, I did a brighter yellow, just like that, just to pop, make it pop. Then I fold that up and you're good. 2 more pieces. We've got this and our leaf. So let's just start with the leaf. I did the brightest green that I have down the center where the veining was, and just kind of on the other little lines, just a few of them. And then I went back and I got black on my cotton ball like this, and then I just did the edges. I just brushed the edges, and maybe just a little bit more on that one. Okay, love it. Set aside. And now for this guy. So bright orange again, and lots of it. So I went around the inside of that flower, and then I did real heavy, like a lot of chalk on my Q-tip, right close to it. And then I did the same thing to some of the edges. So we're gonna work our way around. All right, and then from there, I put a little bit of black in the center. And then brushed it all off, gently. Okay, that's it for these. So let's assemble them, and then we can put the glitter glue in the white paint. So when I did these, before I glued them down, I took my hands and I pulled up the petals just quickly so that it gave it some dimension and shape. And that is just so good. You know, of course, in your book, it's gonna flatten out slightly, but you can always give it that little bend like a natural pop dot. So adhesive, we're gonna glue those down. Let's make sure we start with some of our bigger pieces, which is gonna be like the stems. And that looks good. And then I've got this delicate leaf that I'm gonna pull in. The other limey green one. There's so many ways to arrange these, just love it. Let's pop that in there. So I've got like all my greens. Oh, that's hard for you guys to see, isn't it? So let's do a little adjustment here. That's a little better. Just slightly though, gee whiz. I've got it really close to the table the camera is. So, okay, how about that? So then pink one, we're gonna tuck them in there. Orange. You know, sometimes you don't have to have a lot of it showing for it to give a lot of effect. And then for this little guy, I did the same thing. I pulled up the petals, I made them a little ripply so that they had some dimension. Okay, so there's all of our pieces. Let's go through with our white paint and our toothpick and give it some highlights. All right, so toothpick, white paint. We're gonna do that big flower with little dots just in the center. I'm not gonna do it anywhere else. That looks good. I did some small sections of the twigs, just a couple here, a couple there. Done. 2 little dots on these, or a few little dots I should say. Inside there. Couple on the pinks. Oops. And I didn't do anything to this that I can remember, but so we're not going to now. Now with that, we're gonna grab out our yellow, heavy, heavy, heavy. So especially here, I'm not even sure I have enough yellow to do this. So I meant to grab some when I was at the store. I keep saying that. Well, we might have to hit pause and come back to this. Let's see. Yep. All right, ladies, I'll be back with some yellow glitter. All right, I'm back. I've got the yellow glitter, and now I'm gonna go to town. Maybe I can use the other hand so you can see better. So heavy, heavy. I've never put glitter on so heavy as I have with this calendar. So let your white paint dry first, and then you're gonna come out from the center, just putting nice thick lines of that glitter glue. It looks so messy, but when it dries, it's great. So then center of the purple flower and some of the edges. Pink flower dotting. Actually didn't use it on too many things here. Oh, look at, I smudged that. Now, we will never put that heavy of glitter on anything except for these flowers. Otherwise, it should be very light-handed, not a glob. Okay, guys, I think that's it. We are done with our 2020 flowers. I hope you guys enjoyed all of the flowers and the videos and learned a lot. Thanks, guys.